Hey gang, and welcome back. Just a reminder, you can use the promo code MTGMudsta at flipsidegaming.com. You'll get 10% off orders of $10 or more, and help with the channel at the same time. You could also consider turning off your ad blocker when watching my videos. I hope everyone's having a happy Monday, and thank you for joining me again for another EDH game. This week, I am taking Grand Warlord Radha out, and I keep a hand with a Mountain, 2 Forests, Drag a Tree Speaker, Sylvan Offering, and Skull Clamp. We've got 3 new players to the channel, the first of whom is Matt, and he's playing his Locust God deck, and keeps a hand with 2 Islands, Shivan Reef, Izzet Guildgate, Whirlpool Rider, and Shared Animosity. We have Renaud, who's playing Vial Smasher and Thrasios, and he keeps a hand with Frontier Bivouac, Shivan Reef, Plax Manfa, Void Mage Husher, Misdirection, Deep Sea Kraken, and Omniscience. And last but not least, we have Alex playing Etali, and he keeps a hand with Sensei's Divining Top, Geosurge, Seething Song, Possibility Storm, 2 Mountains, and Hollow the Bandit Lord. Renaud wins the die roll and starts us off. He plays a Frontier Bivouac and passes. I played Temple of Abandon, scrying the top card and putting it on the bottom. Matt plays a tapped Izzet Guildgate and passes to Alex. Alex plays a Mountain and casts Sensei's Divining Top. Renaud plays a Shivan Reef and passes. I play a Forest and I cast Drag a Tree Speaker. I then cast a Skull Clamp and I pass my turn. Matt plays a Shivan Reef and casts Whirlpool Rider, shuffling in his hand 5 cards and then drawing 5 cards. Alex plays a Mountain and he casts Ruby Medallion. Renaud draws but has no land to play. He takes 1 to make a blue from the Shivan Reef and he casts Thrasios before passing to me. I play a Forest and I level up my Drag a Tree Speaker. I then tap the Tree Speaker for 2 mana to cast a Sylvan Ranger, going to find a Mountain from my library. I put it to my hand, and I then Skull Clamp the Ranger, drawing 2 and passing to Matt. Matt plays a Scalding Tarn, which is probably worth more than my entire land base in Radha, and he cracks it, taking 1 to find a Volcanic Island. Yep, definitely worth more. He casts a Curse of the Swine, where X is 1, and exiles my Tree Speaker. Alex plays a tapped Hollow the Bandit Lord, and only has to pay 2 mana to cast Seething Song. He floats 5 mana, which is enough to cast Etali thanks to the medallion, and he passes turn. Renaud drops a Botanical Sanctum as his land for turn, which comes into play untapped. He then suspends the Deep Sea Kraken, and he passes turn. I play a Forest for my turn and bring out Grand Warlord Radha. The Deep Sea Kraken loses a suspend counter, and I keep her back before passing to Matt. Matt plays an Island, and he passes turn. Alex plays a Mountain and activates the top. This seems really good with Etali on the field. Alex then swings Etali at Renaud, and we flip the top card. Alex decides to cast his Nidheb that he exiled, and Karavek he exiled from Renaud. Renaud gets to remove 2 suspend counters from his Kraken as a result of these. He also takes the hit for 6, and Alex gains 6 red mana in his second main phase, which he uses 3 of to cast Relentless Assault. Super. He then tops again while Matt enjoys some popcorn. Alex swings Etali at Renaud again, and we flip the top cards. Alex casts the Darksteel Plate that he exiled, and the Deep Sea Kraken loses another suspend counter. In his next main phase, Alex casts Mind's Eye and equips Etali with the Darksteel Plate. Renaud plays the Copperline Gorge, which comes into play tapped, and he passes. I draw for my turn, and I play another Forest. I move my Skull Clamp onto the Piggy, and then pay 2 to cast Blasphemous Act, at least to deal with Karavek and Nidheb. The Deep Sea Kraken loses another suspend counter as a result, and Alex decides to put the Karavek trigger on me and deals 9 damage. I then draw 2 as my Piggy dies, and at the end of my turn, Alex takes 3 from tapping his Hollow the Bandit Lord for mana to use for his top. Matt plays a Mountain and he casts Mind Stone, and Matt then sacrifices the Mind Stone to draw a card and pass his turn. Alex plays Lightning Greaves, and Renaud removes a final suspend counter from the Deep Sea Kraken, casting it. Alex puts the boots onto Etali, and he moves to combat. He swings Etali at Matt and activates the top in response to the Etali trigger. He looks at the top 3 and puts them back in the order of his choice, and then taps the top to draw a card and put the top on top of his library. We then reveal, and I think I've only flipped lands at this point. Alex then decides to cast Top, Soul of Innistrad, and Brainstorm. Matt then takes 6 commander damage, and Alex plays a Mountain in his second main phase. Alex taps his Bandit Hull and takes 3 life loss for 1 mana to pay for his Mind's Eye trigger as Renaud draws for turn. Renaud then moves to combat and swings the Kraken at Alex for 6. He then brings back out Thrasios in his second main phase and passes to me. I draw for turn and play a mountain. I then cast an Orcish Lumberjack and a Magus of the Wheel in my main phase before passing to Matt. Alex pays 1 mana to draw his Matt draws for turn, and Matt then cycles his Desert of the Fervent before dropping a Polluted Delta and passing turn. Matt cracks his Polluted Delta as Alex draws for turn, taking 1 damage. Alec moves straight to combat, swinging Etali and the Soul of Innistrad at Renaud, while Matt grabs his Steam Vents. We all then flip the top card and reveal some goodies for Alex. Alex first casts his Plague Wind to wipe the board of all of his opponent's creatures, and then brings out Emrakul. He takes Matt's next turn as he casts Emrakul and deals 12 to Renaud. Renaud draws for turn but cannot find a land to save his life. He then delves away his graveyard and pays 4 to cast a Treasure Cruise. He discards down to 7 and passes. I draw for turn and I play a mountain. I then cast a Seasons Past and I bring back Magus of the Wheel, Sylvan Ranger, and drag a Tree Speaker, oops, cheat count 1, and Blasphemous Act. I then recast the Tree Speaker and pass discarding a Forest. Matt gives Alex his hand and untaps for turn. Alex / Matt casts Past in Flames and passes. Matt gets an extra turn now and untaps with full control of his hand. He plays an island for his land for turn and pays 4 to cast Hedron Archive, and then uses the archive to help cast Alhermet's Archive. Alex plays a Nykthos Shrine to Nyx and moves to combat. He swings Etali at Renaud, the Soul at me, and Emrakul at Matt. He activates his top in response to the Etali trigger and puts the cards back in the order he wants. We reveal off the top, and Alex casts Mob Rule, taking all creatures that are 3 or less. He then gets to cast Frantic Search for free, which is kind of gross if you think about it. He draws 2 and discards 2, but forgets to untap 3 lands unfortunately, not that he needs it much. Renaud then dies to commander damage, while I take 6 and Matt takes 13. Alex casts a Faithless Looting in his second main phase, and gives me back my Tree Speaker at the end of his turn. I play a Blighted Woodland as my land for turn, and realize all of my board wipes in the deck are damage based, which do a heaping help of nothing against our Darksteel Plated Dino. I level up my Drag a Tree Speaker, and cast Genesis Wave for X is 5. I hit 5 for 5 with the wave revealing Bloodbraid Elf, Evolutionary Leap, a Mountain, Fierce Empath, and Care Keep. I use the Fierce Empath to tutor for an Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, and I put it to my hand. Matt plays a Mountain and flashes back Past in Flames. He casts Brainstorm and gets to draw 6 cards because of the Alhemret's Archive. Matt then flashes back the Curse of the Swine where X is 1 to exile Emrakul. Alex responds to this with a fork and resolves his copy of Curse to exile my Bloodbraid Elf. Alex draws for his turn and he casts a Thought Vessel. He moves to combat and swings Etali at me. He activates his top and rearranges the top 3. We reveal, and Alex casts my Heroic Intervention and his own Caged Sun, which comes in and he chooses red. I block Etali with the Fierce Empath, and Alex then passes. I draw for turn and tap most of my mana to cast Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger. I exile the Darksteel Plate and the Caged Sun. I then cast a Sylvan Ranger and go to find a forest, putting it to my hand, then playing it as my land for turn. Matt plays a Ghost Quarter and sacrifices it to destroy the Hall of the Bandit Lord. Alec grabs a mountain, and Matt pays 7 to cast Earthquake where X is 6. With the spell in the stack, I sacrifice the Sylvan Ranger to Evolutionary Leap and reveal until I hit a creature, which just so happens to be the top card, and I put Boreal Druid to my hand. Matt then passes. Alex draws for turn and casts a Mana Geyser. He gains 16 red mana for it, and uses 10 to cast his own copy of Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. We see some Inception stuff, and he exiles my Ulamog with his Ulamog, and Matt's Alhemret's Archive. Alex then casts a Gilded Lotus, and he puts the Lightning Greaves onto his Ulamog. He swings Ulamog at me, and I exile the top 20 cards of my library, and then take 10 damage. Alex has nothing to do in his second main phase, and he passes. I draw for turn and cast a Sylvan Offering where X is 10. I give Matt both the 10/1/1s and the 1/10/10, while I gain the same. I then pass to Matt. Matt plays a mountain and he casts the Locust God. He then pays 4 to cast a Whirlpool Drake and shuffles his hand, which consists of 4 cards, and then draws 4 new cards. This also triggers the Locust God's ability, and Matt gains 4 insect tokens. Alex also pays 1 for 3 of the Mind's Eye triggers and draws 3 cards. Matt moves to combat and swings his 10/10 and his 10/1/1s and 2 of the insects at Alex. Alex activates his top but finds nothing that can save him and gets taken out of the game. For my turn, I draw and I cast a Triumph of the Horde. I have more than enough on my board to swing at Matt and take him out with poison damage. Game review time. So there was a bit of a mistake in this game. Unfortunately, I could not have gotten back to drag a Tree Speaker. Had it not been so late at night, and had I been a bit more attentive, I would have realized this and taken Orcish Lumberjack instead. People might think, oh, well, you shouldn't have been able to cast X or Y. Well, the Orcish Lumberjack would have actually netted me an additional mana at the cost of a land, which wasn't that much of a trade-off, and I still would have basically been able to do everything I did. This was probably the best that I've ever seen an Etali deck do, outside of the one game where I played PJ in the EDH lounge. Alex piloted it incredibly well, and the Ruby Medallion was phenomenal in my opinion. I'd say the MVP card for Alex was probably Sensei's Divining Top, since being able to make sure that you get whatever card you want to cast for free was such a big deal. I think had it not been for the Blasphemous Act, he would have gotten way out of control, because Karavek and Neheb would have gained him so much mana and extra damage every turn. Matt was unfortunately put in a tough position, because basically if he didn't kill Alex, Alex was going to kill him on the next turn, and if he didn't kill me, I was going to kill him on the next turn, so he had to pick who he wanted to win, and since Etali had been the big bad guy since the beginning of the game, he decided to let me win. Please be sure to tune in every Monday and Thursday at 11 AM Eastern Standard Time for a guaranteed new video. You can also follow me on Twitter at MTGMudsta. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/mtgmudsta, and lastly, you can check me out when I stream at twitch.tv/mtgmudsta. This video is brought to you in support by my patrons. If you're looking for a way to help out the channel, please be sure to visit the link below. Thank you all for watching this video, and don't forget, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.